rise for the presentation of the colors and then remain standing as UW Stevens Point Junior Music Education major Chris Eaton sings our national anthem. He will be accompanied by the UW Stevens Point Wind Ensemble. Please remain standing for Lift Every Voice and Sing, performed by junior musical theater major Kaya Fitzgerald.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise, rise to the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling seas. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the bright past has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Please be seated.
Wow. Good morning, UWSP family and friends, and a warm welcome to the inauguration of our 15th Chancellor of our University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, Dr. Thomas Gibson. I'm Marty Loy, Dean of the College of Professional Studies. I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Marcus Lewis, who will read our Indigenous Land Recognition Statement. Dr. Lewis is a member of the Ho-Chunk Nation and an associate lecturer and EDD program global affiliate scholar in the School of Education. He's founder and owner of Key Change Consulting and is a 2007 graduate of UW-Stevens Point. Please help me welcome Dr. Marcus Lewis.
Wajana wina, hamte e hanicha wida haipi, hijin kishina hini karigiwi. Ho-Chunk rajla noch jukiga hinga hirena hanaga hunchiaki karachija wa wanje. Hanaga maichere rajla Dr. Marcus Lewis ga hinga hirena egi hanan charaji wida haipi. My relatives, today I greet you all in the Ho-Chunk language. I told you that my name is Nochjuki, that I'm a member of the Bear Clan, and I gave you my English name, which is Marcus Lewis, and then I said, I'm glad you all came. As Dr. Loy said, I'm an enrolled member of the Ho-Chunk Nation, an African-American man and a proud alumnus of UWSP's class of 2007. I'm honored to be here today to participate in the inauguration of Dr. Thomas Gibson as UWSP's newest chancellor. Being here is especially meaningful to me because it wasn't so long ago that people like me weren't supposed to be here. That higher education wasn't for people like me. And now, all these years later, here I am, not only as a fortunate alumnus who loves his alma mater, but as a small part of the celebration to install the very first Chancellor of Color in the 128-year history of this institution. It's about time. Though Dr. Gibson is the first, I'm certain he will not be the last. And I want to say thank you to him for opening the door so that others may one day walk through too. And now I want to pay tribute to and honor the legacies of the original Indigenous caretakers of this land, the Ho-Chunk and Menominee peoples. This institution's land acknowledgement statement is an important first step in understanding the complex history of these lands upon which our institution sits, but it must also be the catalyst that sparks ongoing dialogue about the importance of Indigenous history and our meaningful contributions throughout time. So as I read this statement, first in Ho-Chunk and then in English, I ask that you please view it as the beginning of a broader conversation and not as an ending. University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point Nangre, Ho-Chunk ma nagakahi ma hami nunk wau nunkra hipereswi. Hakochunk shuianaga Ho-Chunk shakra nagakahi shakra manangre hachira shununa hirakirik jawi wagaje. Egi wank shikaja hoajireda ma wakanchunk hani nera hirasa wagaje. We would like to recognize that the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point occupies the lands of the Ho-Chunk and Menominee people. Please take a moment to acknowledge and honor this ancestral Ho-Chunk and Menominee land and the sacred lands of all Indigenous peoples. Hanan Shwaini Ganampui. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. I'd like to introduce to you Father Steve Bryce from Holy Spirit Parish to give our invocation. Please help me welcome Father Bryce.
Let us remember where we are and whom our actions this day will affect, then dedicate this inauguration to them. We who gather are at the heart of the dreams and career aspirations of over 8,000 men and women. We are central to the hopes of the parents and grandparents who have entrusted them to us. To fulfilling those dreams and realizing those hopes, let us dedicate this inauguration. We gather in the heart of the heartland of the United States of America, a nation that has for generations looked to the University of Wisconsin for visionary leadership, world-changing innovation, and skilled and reliable labor. To the healing and ennobling of our beloved country, let us dedicate this inauguration. As residents of one of the most wealthy and powerful nations on earth, our daily choices have reverberations in Ukraine, Afghanistan, Nicaragua, and throughout the world. Humanity's future depends on the end of tribalism and the formation of global citizens who hold the common good at heart in all their decisions. To a more compassionate and just, and therefore more peaceful and prosperous world, let us dedicate this inauguration. We gather where there is plenty of water, and where lush green fields bear bumper crops, while the world around us suffers droughts, fires, flooding, and storms. We gather at the birthplace of conservation education, to restoring balance and sustainability to our earth and its community of creatures. Let us dedicate this inauguration. Lastly, we gather in the heart of the infinite mystery, recognizing that all our knowledge and power are but a tiny island in a vast sea of unknown, a mystery whose benevolence and creativity we see in the simple goodness of students and in the amazing beauty and diversity of this world's creatures. A mystery muted by hubris, but which pours forth wisdom through Buddha, Mohammed, Jesus, and other humble souls. To you, from whom we all came, to you, who hold us in life this very moment, to you, to whom we shall all return, we dedicate this inauguration. May this remembering of where we are and who our actions affect move Chancellor Gibson and all of us to offer our very best. We pray, Amen.
Thank you, Father Bryce. I'm honored to serve as Master of Ceremonies for this event. Today we celebrate the university and the role it plays in the central Wisconsin region and in the entire state of Wisconsin. A special thanks to Chris Eaton, Kaya Fitzgerald, and the UW-Stevens Point Wind Ensemble under the direction of Dr. John Lynch for performing this morning. Can you please stand to be recognized? Excellent. Thanks again to Father Steve Bryce for the invocation and to Marcus Lewis for honoring this ancestral Ho-Chunk and Menominee land by reading our land recognition statement. These three special individuals had the honor of being our marshal. Could I please have the following be recognized? Grand Marshal Mary Bowman, Professor of English and co-chair of the Search and Screen Committee that led to the search of our 15th Chancellor. Honorary Marshals Michelle Bornke, Campus Executive at UW-Stevens Point at Marshfield. and Ozella Toms, our campus executive at UW Stevens Point. We call her Dr. Oz. Please give them a nice round of applause. I'd also like to recognize members of the Search and Screen Committee who are here today. Will you please stand and be recognized? I know you're out there. Please stand. Let's give them a round of applause. I had the privilege of serving as interim provost during Chancellor Gibson's first year here at UW Stevens Point. During this time, I got to know the Chancellor really well, almost too well. Before Tom arrived, we were a campus that was hunching under the burden of budget issues and COVID challenges. Tom has brought us to life again. His optimism, focus on the students, and the other vice chancellors will agree with me on this, his constant observations and questioning have led us out of it. Because of Tom, we're standing tall again, and we are focused on what's truly important and regaining our confidence once again. I know UW Stevens Point future is bright, mission-driven, and full of purpose under Chancellor Gibson's leadership. Now, to share in this celebration, there are several other UW system representatives here. I'm pleased to introduce them to you now, and please hold your applause until all of them are standing. UW System President Jay Rothman, Regent President Karen Walsh, our own UWSP student and Regent Brianna Tucker, Regent Edmund Menydeeds III, Regent John Miller, Regent Kyle Weatherly, University of Wisconsin Eau Claire Chancellor Jim Schmidt, University of Wisconsin Green Bay Chancellor Michael Alexander, University of Wisconsin Oshkosh Chancellor Andrew Levitt, University of Wisconsin Parkside Chancellor Deborah Ford, University of Wisconsin Platteville Interim Chancellor Tammy Vedovich, and University of Wisconsin River Falls Chancellor Maria Gallo. And finally, University of Wisconsin Whitewater Interim Chancellor John Chenoweth. Please give them a nice round of applause. One of the strengths of UW Stevens Point is the dedicated leadership from the current vice chancellors and deans. I'd like to introduce them to you. Please hold your applause again until they're standing so we can recognize them as a group. Levon Cornell Swanson, our new provost and vice chancellor for academic affairs. Pratima Gandhi, vice chancellor for business affairs. L. Thompson, vice chancellor for student affairs. Lana Poole, chief marketing and enrollment officer. And my fellow deans, including Valerie Sisler, Dean of the College of Fine Arts and Communication, Joshua Hagan, Dean of College of Letters and Science, Brian Sloss, Dean of College of Natural Resources, and Brettel Stock, Dean of our University College. Please give them a hand. During an inauguration of a new chancellor, it's appropriate to express gratitude to the individuals who have previously served UW Stevens Point in this capacity, either as permanent or interim chancellors. You'll find this list in today's program. Our previous chancellors served with dedication and were an important part of building this wonderful university, including our most recent chancellor, Bernie Patterson, who is here with us today. Chancellor Emeritus Patterson, would you please stand and be recognized? University of Wisconsin System Chancellor inauguration is a special occasion indeed. This can be seen in the representation of elected local and state officials who have joined us today. I would like to ask you to stand wherever you're at. Please stand. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Prior to coming to UW Stevens Point, Chancellor Gibson was Vice President for Student Affairs and Vice Provost at Bowling Green State University in Ohio. He was also Associate Vice President of Student Affairs at Ball State University in Muncie, Indiana, and held several roles in student services at York College, City University of New York, Queens College, and the University of Connecticut at Stamford. We are pleased to have several of Chancellor Gibson's former colleagues and friends in attendance today. Will you please stand to be recognized as well? Please. And we would also like to give a warm recognition to members of Chancellor Gibson's family who are here with us today, including his wife, Regent, their daughter, Kennedy, Tom's parents, Eartha Lennon and Modi Lennon Sr., two brothers, as well as many other family members in attendance. Will Chancellor Gibson's family members please stand? I spoke with Chancellor Gibson's mom last night, and I said she did a wonderful job of raising her son. Traditionally, representatives from throughout the institution offer greetings to the Chancellor as part of their inaugural ceremonies. At UW-Stevens Point, students always come first. Therefore, the first greeting will be made by the president of our Student Government Association, Kyle Beiersdorf. Kyle is a junior majoring in political science and history and is from Appleton, Wisconsin. Please help me welcome Kyle Beiersdorf.
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to welcome you all to this day of celebration. A special welcome to the Chancellor's family and friends, guests, and members of several UW campuses and area communities. My name is Kyle Beiersdorf, and I am from Appleton, Wisconsin. I'm a junior studying history and political science. Before my role in Student Government Association, I would have told you all I was interested in going into immigration law. However, largely due to Chancellor Gibson, I am now pursuing a career in higher education. This is why speaking in front of all of you is so exciting for me. Chancellor Gibson is far more influential to me than he may realize. The future of our university and opportunities for students are exciting with Chancellor Gibson at the helm. I can only begin to imagine all the places we will soon go together. Chancellor Gibson has already hit the ground running, especially with students. For example, just recently, Chancellor Gibson joined Student Government Association on a Walk with the Chancellor event. We walked through Schmeeckley Reserve, where students could come network with him. Some students were motivated to come just for a selfie, but their interest soon deepened as our walk started. The Chancellor's genuine interest in getting to know both us as students and as people was apparent. No longer did students just want selfies. They were beginning to build relationships with him and soon had plans to go kayaking on Lake Jonas. Students were in awe that they would soon have the opportunity to kayak with the Chancellor, a plan that he initiated. This has not been the only time. Chancellor Gibson has inspired many students, including me. I hope to achieve what you, Chancellor, do each and every day. You are unconsciously being a mentor, so thank you. I'm most inspired by your drive for campus engagement and student involvement, a priority we both have. Together, we have already implemented Pointers After Dark, a late-night programming initiative aimed at encouraging students to remain on campus by offering positive, engaging activities over the weekend that energize our campus. Students are excited for Casino Night, which is happening tomorrow night in celebration of you. Your small efforts, such as buying students coffee at Homegrown Cafe, are greatly appreciated. Not because of the coffee, although that does help. Students feel better connected and enjoy your involvement. You make students feel valued and welcomed at UW-Stevens Point, which is so important to our success both in the classroom and beyond. While you are committed to us, we as students are committed to you and are excited for you to serve as our Chancellor. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. The University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point is well known for its tradition of outstanding faculty and their leadership. Shared governance is not just a phrase exchanged across campus, but rather A great effort is made to practice shared governance consistently and wisely in the significant decisions faced by our administration, faculty, and students of this great university. With us today to speak on behalf of Common Council is its chair, Dr. Christy Roth. A professor of education, Dr. Roth has been at UW-Stevens Point since 2004 when she started her academic career in the field of adapted physical education. Please help me welcome Dr. Christy Roth.
Thank you. On behalf of the faculty and staff at UW-Stevens Point, I'm excited to warmly welcome Chancellor Thomas Gibson to the Pointer community. Shared governance is a commitment to listening and collaborating. Throughout his time at UW-Stevens Point, Chancellor Gibson has made it clear that he is driven to do just that. A few weeks ago, I attended a campus meeting and we were tasked with sharing stories about how we have seen effective leadership on our campus. Keep in mind, this meeting was attended by faculty, academic staff, and university staff alike. So there were many leaders we could have been sharing stories about. And certainly, many leaders were mentioned. However, the leader who received the most mentions was Chancellor Gibson. Faculty and staff admire our Chancellor's communication style. They appreciate how his updates and messages are timely, responsive, and inclusive. And they recognize the efforts he's made to foster a positive culture. Certainly, Chancellor Gibson exudes positivity. Personally, I think I have yet to see our Chancellor with a frown. He is usually smiling, and when he's with our students, he beams. In preparing for these remarks, I asked Chancellor Gibson to provide me with a moment or two from his past that helped him solidify his value in shared governance. I was hoping for a storybook moment that I could share with you that would elicit goosebumps in all of us. I watched his deep thinking face as he scoured his memory. He was a little stumped. He thought about it for a few days and then followed up with some wonderful and true examples of his collaborative leadership as we navigated the pandemic and returned to campus safely. I must say it wasn't the lightning bolt moment I was looking for. After pondering this for a bit, I realized why coming up with one or two moments was hard for him. It's not because Chancellor Gibson doesn't have storybook moments to tell. It's because collaborative leadership and shared decision-making is who he is. The few stories I was searching for are daily moments woven throughout his life. Chancellor Gibson is inherently a team player, listening to the myriad of voices and working together to make decisions is his way of being. Shared governance is ultimately about respect. Respect for the voices of all members of our campus community, and respect for the ideal that UW-Stevens Point belongs to everyone, and every voice matters. This doesn't mean that everyone gets what they want, but it does mean that everyone deserves to be heard and considered. And that is what Chancellor Gibson does. He listens, he considers, he collaborates. He knows that by sharing in decision-making, our university is stronger. So welcome, Chancellor Gibson, to the Pointer family.
Thank you, Dr. Roth. When Chancellor Gibson was a fellow with the Association of Governing Boards in Universities and Colleges, he shadowed Dr. Chris Howard, at the time president of Robert Morris University in Pittsburgh. The two instantly connected and have stayed in touch, maintaining a mentor-mentee relationship that is ongoing today. We're privileged to have him with us to share a few words about his friend, Thomas Gibson. Dr. Howard has a distinguished, and I mean incredibly distinguished, career in higher education. He's currently the Executive Vice President and Chief Operating Officer of Arizona State University Academic Enterprise. Dr. Howard is a graduate of the U.S. Air Force Academy and was a Rhodes Scholar at the University of Oxford. He earned a master's in business administration from Harvard School of Business, and in 2018 was presented with the school's Alumni Achievement Award. He also earned a Bronze Star for military service in Afghanistan and the Campbell Trophy, the nation's highest academic award for a senior college football player in the country. He and his wife, Barbara Noble Howard, have 2 adult sons. Please help me welcome Dr. Chris Howard.
Thank you very much. I'm also Tom Gibson's body double today. So, Tom, this is an opportunity. This is something I'm so delighted to be able to do. My comments will be brief, but as a Baptist and 2-time president, brief-ish. Having traveled from Arizona where it's 50 degrees hotter, thank God for Wisconsin, I might be here for a minute, maybe a minute and a half. But I want to say good morning, University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Woo! That's right. First thing first, allow me to say a word of thanks specifically to the Board of Regents, to the faculty and staff, esteemed elected officials, the greater Stevens Point community, the Gibson family, and most especially Kyle, the students, because Stevens Point always leads with students. I'm going to steal that one. Now, I am honored to offer a few remarks as we install Dr. Thomas Gibson as the 15th Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Nearly 30 years ago, at my Air Force pilot training graduation, the keynote speaker made a promise that I will try to keep today, which is, well, I will be brief, be bright, and be gone. Now, the brief words I offer today will focus on the colliding universes that brought me here at this moment to celebrate my dear friend, Dr. Gibson. Now, I got to know Thomas when he was paired with me as my protege through the Association of Governing Boards, which was mentioned before, in the mentorship program. What was not mentioned is that I got a phone call when this program was started by Nancy Zemfer, who ran SUNY, State University of New York, and Roderick McDavis, who ran Ohio University, 2 friends of mine. They said, hey, there's this new program starting. We want to help minorities and women get into leadership roles in higher education. And so I got a call shortly thereafter from your boss at the time, Dwayne, the president of Bowling Green. He said, hey, I know this great guy. He works for me. He's on a rocket ship. You should support him. Will you mentor him? I said, of course. Well, then a day later, I got a call from the president of Richmond, Ron Crutcher, and he said, I got a guy named Mac, you need to support him. And then about a week later, I got a call from a guy named Reggie, University of New Hampshire, who somebody had heard me speak, was a friend of his, and will you do him? And I said, well, three times the charm, so I will do all 3, but obviously this was the best. Mama Gibson knows that. Everybody knows that even though I had 3, this was the best one. I knew that from the beginning. It was part of that program that in 2020, he came to Robert Morris University, ultimately, where I was then president. He became one of my presidential leadership fellows, and we're still listening to your advice. Thank you very much, Tom. In fact, during Dr. Gibson's appointment at RMU, he learned that he had gotten the role for which he is being inaugurated today. It was richly deserved and has not allowed me to complete a journey. It now allowed me to complete a journey to Stevens Point that, by the way, is taking me 35 years to do. Let me tell you why. Now, you see, my Air Force Academy classmate, Dan Drake, hails from Stevens Point. And he just couldn't shut up about the place when we were cadets. Now, many times he invited me to this magical locale. But being a Texan who could barely tolerate Colorado winters, I gave him a polite but firm no thank you. Now, for the record, Dan and I went on to start as running backs on the Air Force Academy team that defeated the Ohio State University in the 1990 Liberty Bowl. Go ahead and plot. Go ahead. Tom, we were 17-point underdogs and won 23-11. So while I'm neither a Badger nor a cheesehead, I share your hatred for the Ohio State University. Oh, how I hate Ohio State. No, just kidding, just kidding. Now, more serious matter. On September 11, 2003, as an Air Force Reserve officer called to serve my country, I landed at Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan in a blacked-out C-130 aircraft to lead our covert human intelligence collection operations for Combined Joint Task Force 180, a title that doesn't actually roll off the tongue. I worked for one of the finest and most colorful service members I've ever met, Lieutenant Colonel Scott Barrier. Now, Colonel Barrier and I became fast friends, and as I set out to fly over the Hindu Kush on a CIA-operated aircraft when my tour ended, no, I really did do that. I really did fly on a CIA airplane. Colonel Barrier pulled me to the side, and he said, in the most colorful way, "Chris, how the hell are you going to sell toilet seats at General Electric when you demobilize? You know you like this, SH, and you know you're good at this, SH, Now, I told you that it was going to be, I told you that he was a very colorful guy. And I said, okay, oh, by the way, Colonel Barrier, I'm not going to sell toilet seats at GE. I'm going to be an executive in the Corporate Initiatives Group, to which Scott said, whatever. Now, that whatever stuck with me, talking about mentorship, Kyle, and it led me to rethink my entire career trajectory. And that's no knock on GE. I wanted to lead, but I also wanted to serve. As I saw it, I had three options at that point. Return active duty in the military, move into a leadership role in the nonprofit sector, or embark on a career in higher education. Now, you guessed it. I eventually chose C. When the opportunity arose, I accepted a position as Vice President for Strategic Leadership Initiatives at the University of Oklahoma. And the rest, as they say, is history. That was almost 20 years ago. Now, I'm grateful to Lieutenant Colonel Barrier for that whatever. And I'm grateful for the impact I've been able to have on the lives of students, as I know the Chancellor will. And I'm grateful for the friendship of esteemed and honorable women and men such as Dr. Tom Gibson. But what you probably did not know is that Scott Barrier is now Lieutenant General Scott Barrier, the Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency and a University of Wisconsin Stevens Point graduate. Bravo. Ladies and gentlemen, I can say with no hyperbole that this university changed my life. I would not be standing before you but for frequent flyer miles on American Airlines and Stevens Point. Now, the Bible says they will know you by your fruit. And that Scott Barrier is one heck of a banana, I tell you. Now, Thomas, I can tell you that you have certainly made the correct choice in your vocation, and the students, the faculty, and staff of University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point will be all the richer because of it. My wish and prayer for you, my friend, is that you will have a fruitful tenure as a chancellor, recognizing you cannot, as was said before, you cannot do this alone. Dr. Gibson, your position will be one of constituency management, shared governance, leadership, and cooperation. With the support of the faculty, staff, and board, and students, and the community here, there is no challenge that you cannot together overcome. A word to the wise, though, you will no doubt alienate each of these constituencies at one time or another. But the key, having done this for 13 years before, is not to make them all mad at you at the same time. Okay? That's the key. Now, in closing, I'm going to ask that these respective constituencies for a few favors on your behalf, Tom, because you can't ask them this. I will. Now, to the students, Kyle, you lead this away. Please cut Dr. Gibson a little slack. When the cell phone service is not up to par, the Wi-Fi goes down, or when it takes longer than you would have liked to address a politically charged matter impacting the student body. Also remember that you are the students, not your parents, but you. Recognize that Dr. Gibson and his team are working diligently to address these matters and discern from them the only duly selected person to speak on behalf of the university, that he is doing so with great care and wisdom. To the staff, please keep in mind that balancing the budget, approving institutional priorities, and raising funds are challenges that weigh upon Dr. Gibson virtually every waking moment, and his wife, Regent, will tell you that. He is committed to trying not to ask you to do more with less. There will be times where he simply has to place frugality ahead of institutional ambition. To the community, please forgive Dr. Gibson when a student is perhaps a bit too, shall we say, overserved or loud or zealous when in public, recognizing we were all young once. I also know that though he believes a rising tide lifts all boats and all butts, sorry about that, there may be times when he can't lean in on every initiative emanating from City Hall. To the faculty, please give Dr. Gibson the benefit of the doubt and know he cares deeply about the academic programs and wishes to support you in your scholarship, your teaching, and service, even when he can't get you the parking spot you know you deserve, or the snow removed quickly enough after a blizzard. We can't spell blizzard in Arizona. We don't know what those things are. I had to look that up on Wikipedia. Now, finally, to the Board of Regents, please work deliberately and intentionally to ensure that Tom is allowed to lead and to manage this fine school while you govern it. Don't be offended when he respectfully asks you to place a student outcome over political differences, and forgive him when the baseball team loses the occasional game to your arch rivals. So, Chancellor Gibson, I have now set the stage for your fruitful tenure here at Stevens Point. I can assure you that though the years may be short, the days will be long. I can also assure you it will be the most challenging yet rewarding experience of your life, other than the birth of your baby. Now, after you kiss your wonderful wife, Regent, each night and hug your amazing daughter, Kennedy, always remember it is an honor and a privilege to lead an institution of higher learning, and that you are never as good or as bad as what they're saying about you on Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Howard. My name is Brianna Tucker. I'm a third-year student here at Stevens Point, majoring in political science and criminal justice. I have also had the honor to serve as the traditional student regent representative on the UW System Board of Regents. I'd like to introduce my fellow regent, Karen Walsh, the third woman to lead the board as its president. Regent President Walsh took on the important work of chairing the Chancellor's Search and Screen Committee that led to the selection of Chancellor Gibson. Regent President Walsh is the director of the Burby Walsh Foundation, dedicated to human and animal health and welfare. Previously, she served UW-Madison in Public Information and Communications, retiring in 2005 as the Assistant Dean for External Relations in the College of Engineering. She serves on the several nonprofit boards in Madison and is the past president of the Madison Opera Board of Trustees. She holds bachelor's and master's degrees in journalism from UW-Madison. Please help me welcome Regent President Karen Walsh.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be here amongst all of you. Tom, where do I begin? So when a regent gets a call from the regent president to serve as chair of a search committee, two things go through your mind. The first thing is just a tad bit of panic. The second thing is, how can I connect quickly with this campus community and figure out what they really need and are looking for in a new leader? And so I dug into the latter and put the panic aside for a moment. And I have to say that the Stevens Point community, it's one of the most vibrant campuses in our system. And some of the first people that I spoke with were the legislators who have one of the three campuses in their district. And that would put the fear of God into you simply because they said it's so important for you to pick somebody good, somebody talented, somebody extraordinary. So that, no pressure, right? Then I got to campus, and everyone here was so warm and so forthcoming and insightful about what they wanted us to look for. And what was that? It was a myriad of things, but it was clear that somebody who could inspire folks was very high on the list, someone unafraid to lead, someone with a vision that people could buy into. So what did we see in Tom Gibson? So I think most of you in this room probably know the Stevens Point tagline, "Discover Your Purpose." We felt like Tom Gibson discovered his purpose a long time ago, and his purpose was to inspire others, especially students. And with Stevens Point's secret sauce, of student success and focus on not only your academic life, but your social life with your events, your mental health needs, all of those things are wrapped up in student success. And Tom is one of those people, we're all passionate about something in our lives. It takes a special kind of person to bring that passion out, and another level of special person to put that into action and inspire others. And my gosh, Tom Gibson was that person to the max. When we interviewed him, he knocked my socks off, and by the end of the interview, we were all barefoot. He was so impressive and so engaged, and when you heard some of the earlier speakers here talk about what was important in what Tom Gibson's done in his short time here already, you see the task before a search committee is very challenging, and the Regents couldn't do it with all the folks on the campus, and especially my co-chair, Mary Bowman, the faculty that served on our committee and staff. All of you helped bring this person here. So congratulations to all of you for helping to guide us to make the best possible choice for Stevens Point. I know, Tom, that you're going to be an inspirational leader. I know that because not only are students, you buying coffee for students, but they're giving you, I understand, hats and gloves. So there's a lot of mutual care going back and forth here. There will be great things. There have been great things in the past on the Stevens Point campus. You are poised for great things in the future, and we're so proud of all of you and your new chancellor. Congratulations, Tom.
In my year as provost, I came to know just how interested in and involved the regents are in the universities that they serve. And there was nobody more helpful and involved than you, Karen. So thank you very much. UW-Stevens Point is proud to be one of those 13 institutions within the University of Wisconsin system moving our state forward with the richest traditions in American public higher education. I'm pleased to introduce the 9th president of that system, Jay Rothman, who took on the role as recent as June 1. President Rothman has served as chairman and CEO of the law firm Foley & Loudner, which he joined in 1986. President Rothman also serves as director of Quad Graphics and Mayville Engineering Company and is active with Junior Achievement, Children's Hospital, and the Children Wisconsin Foundation. He holds a Bachelor of Arts degree from Marquette University and a law degree from Harvard Law School. But his ties to Stevens Point are close, and they are through his parents, both graduates of this university. Please help me welcome the president of the University of Wisconsin System, Jay Rothman, who, following his remarks, President Rothman will lead the investiture of Chancellor Gibson.
Thank you, Dean Loy, and I've always considered myself, although I never attended this great university, a product of this university. Not only did my parents attend here, they met here. So I would not be here but for the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point. You know, it is truly an honor to be here with all of you today. Tom, I'm not sure if there's anything more we can say, but I will do my best. Because I'd like to thank you for being here to help mark a historic day for the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point, as we formally recognize and celebrate Dr. Thomas Gibson as this university's 15th chancellor. This is a new chapter in the UW-Stevens Point story, and I am delighted that there are so many campus colleagues, community leaders, regents, legislators, university friends, and particularly Tom's family here today to be part of that story. I've had, in my short tenure in my role, have had an opportunity to spend a fair amount of time with Tom, including in his role on a team that helped me in my transition. I think you all know this, but I have discovered this. Tom is a person of great character and great compassion. Most recently, I had the opportunity to spend a couple days in Stevens Point, actually last week, on a campus tour. And I learned again that UW-Stevens Point really is a special place, and I am delighted to be part of today's event. This investiture is a little unusual in that Tom has nearly 2 years under his belt as Chancellor. What that means, though, is that we can see the great things that he has already accomplished, and you've heard about some of those already today. This is proof positive of why he was the right person for this job and is the right person for this job, for this university, and for the entire state of Wisconsin. When Tom arrived here back in January of 2021, his timing being impeccable, the pandemic was still raging. And there was a great deal of uncertainty and stress. And from everything I've heard, and from what I have witnessed firsthand, Tom has been and is a calm, thoughtful, and steady leader, making tough decisions, but always keeping students first. Kyle, you're absolutely right. Always keeping students first and the best interests of his university always in mind. The campus community knew very early on that they were getting someone special. Right from the start, Tom made it clear he wanted students at UW-Stevens Point to reclaim the full college experience that the pandemic had interrupted. In his first month, he created the Chancellor's Commission on the Ancestors Buried Below Us to expand the educational opportunities for Native students and provide an appropriate memorial to Native people who died of disease on land where this university was subsequently built. He also met with tribal leadership in the area. More broadly, he continues to foster an environment that is opening doors and growing the sense of belonging, support, and Pointer pride among the students, faculty, and staff, and I think you've heard that already this morning. He is also setting an extremely positive tone. We talk about someone with optimism that sees the glass half full. That's Tom Gibson. In his second week on the job, Tom was launching bowling balls down the hallway of Old Main. I didn't think you could do that, but hey, striking down pins for a charity video for the local Big Brothers Big Sisters organization. Kyle, I don't suggest you and your friends try that, but just a thought. As others have noted today, the personal touch is obviously important to Tom. Last November, he made it a point of breaking the news in person to each of 6 lucky UW-Stevens Point students who had just won $7,000 tuition scholarships as part of the UW system's COVID-19 vaccination campaign. It was captured on video, and I'm sure it's not surprising to you that a lot of people got misty-eyed over watching those videos. That's the compassion, that's the empathy, that's the student-first attitude that Tom exhibits. And because food is always a good idea, particularly on a college campus, more than just free coffee, Tom has also brought back a student favorite. That tradition of serving up waffles and other breakfast treats on the Sunday night before final exam week. And he even gets his leadership team to participate. Clearly Tom has invested a lot of time and effort into building connections, both on this campus, but also beyond. On campus, in addition to supporting students, Tom has created an Employee Appreciation Week to recognize the valuable contributions of faculty and staff to the overall Stevens Point experience and to its mission. Off campus, along with visits to businesses in Stevens Point, Marshfield, and Wausau, he has built relationships with legislators and technical college and community leaders, among others. Tom is regularly on local radio station WPCN, sharing stories and highlighting partnerships. He and his family also frequently join the community at local festivals and parades. He's passionate about being a Pointer and being a great ambassador to this university. In other words, he is a great leader. I am convinced that the UW system has a distinct and vital mission in which this university plays a critical role. Our universities across the state can and must prepare people to make a good living, but more important, so that they can be contributing citizens to our society. We stand by our commitment to serve our state and local communities by graduating more students into areas of high need, such as science, math, natural resources and forestry, healthcare, and engineering. Driven by our commitment to the Wisconsin idea, we are truly here to serve. As I noted, Stevens Point is such a key part of the story of the UW system. It's all about, as President Walsh said, discovering your purpose and then navigating the path forward. Tom has already embraced his role as UW Stevens Point advocate-in-chief and all-around cheerleader, spreading the word about the great work being done here at Stevens Point, as well as on the campuses in both Marshfield and Wausau. Since being this university's leader, he has focused on meaningful and action-based priorities to keep UW Stevens Point's mission and values vibrant and moving forward, even in the face of some significant challenges. Quite simply, UW Stevens Point is a university that gets it. Under Tom's leadership, it understands that the boundaries of the university do stretch far beyond the campus perimeters. This university proves that the Wisconsin idea is not just some abstract concept, but it's a real force for good, one that changes all of our lives for the better. And on that note of changing lives for the better, it is now my pleasure to call forward the man of the hour, the 15th Chancellor of the University of Wisconsin, Stevens Point, Dr. Thomas Gibson. I don't think that was for me, so that's good. Chancellor Gibson, is my great privilege as president of the UW system to bestow upon you the Chancellor's Medallion as a symbol of the office and with the charge that it be worn with humility, esteem, and honor, which I know you will do. Every time you put it on, and I know you will do this, may it remind you of the many ways you can channel your talents and gifts to serve the people and partners of this great university and change the trajectory of students' lives. May it also serve to inspire you to lead the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point in its mission of teaching, of research, and of public service during what promises to be, I know, a very successful tenure in your role as Chancellor. Chancellor, my congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, President Rothman. I'd now like to introduce to you the UW Stevens Point Concert Choir under the direction of Mateos Cruz, who will perform a song from their upcoming fall concert, The Last Words of David, by Randall Thompson.
So a big thank you to our concert choir and director, Matthias Cruz, for that wonderful performance. You know, it feels surreal to be standing before you today as I am inaugurated as the 15th Chancellor of UW-Stevens Point. Yes. My remarks to you today will highlight a few of the most impactful experiences of my youth, my journey to college, my career in higher education, and to this very stage. Some parts of my life journey you might find surprising, while others will sound very familiar to your own experiences or those of our students. Each of us here has a unique journey, but today our paths converge as we share this special event. So thank you for joining me. Like many of you here today, I was the first in my family to graduate from college. I grew up in New Haven, Connecticut with my two siblings and mother in a lower income household. My mother would later marry a caring and supportive man. Although we were not well off financially, I never felt as though I didn't have enough, and our home was always filled with warmth and laughter. As a youth, I enjoyed attending school. English, social studies, and science were my favorite subjects. I was and still am a curious learner. I did and still do ask a lot of questions, as you've heard. Attending college wasn't yet on my radar, but it certainly was not a foregone conclusion. Besides, at the time, I had other aspirations. My life would forever be changed in the year 1980. While visiting my older cousin's home, I heard a song, a rap song, for the very first time. It was Rapper's Delight, performed by the Sugar Hill Gang. I couldn't believe what my ears were hearing. The rhyming words, the song's energy forced you to move something, your feet, or bop your head. And the boastfulness of the rappers was unlike anything that I've ever heard. I smiled with fascination. To me, it was like poetry set to music. In the song, the rappers would spell their names in their lyrics. And as you may have guessed, I too began rap spelling my name around the house and at school. In fact, I couldn't wait for Monday's attendance roll call so that I could rap. Well, I'm the THO, the MAS, the GIBSON. Folks, I was quite annoying. So rap music became this soundtrack to my early life's journey. As a teenager, I wanted to become a rapper like Run DMC and LL Cool J. Wait, some of you look surprised. You can't tell? What about now? Well, if I were to be taken seriously as a rapper, I needed a gold chain. All of the rappers wore jewelry. But my mother was a strong proponent of education. She knew it was a pathway for more opportunity, and a gold chain was certainly out of the question. I understood early on if I were to achieve any success, rather personal or professional, it would be through securing an education beyond high school. Besides the ability to rap my name, I wasn't so certain that a rap career was in the cards. My parents were thrilled that this was seemingly a passing phase, and I was becoming more serious about my studies. I did well academically in high school, and I was off to college. College was a transformative experience for me. Through my affinity for music, I was able to connect with others across differences in meaningful ways. I grew academically, personally, and socially. I was a fully engaged student and active in student organizations. I also worked as a new student orientation peer advisor, resident assistant, student patrol officer, and peer tutor throughout my study. But these experiences afforded my first opportunity of being of service to others within higher education. I learned firsthand the transformational impact of a higher education experience. Unbeknownst to me at the time, it was an experience that would provide direction and professional purpose throughout my life. As an undergrad, I chose a major with some proximity to entertainment, communication. At the time, I thought I wanted to be a TV news anchor. You probably can see that. After graduation, my first professional job was as a technical director and video editor for a TV station. I enjoyed my work, but found it not very fulfilling. I realized what I enjoyed most was supporting and assisting others, like when I was an undergraduate student. So I returned to school and I pursued advanced degrees in education and leadership and higher education administration. I was well on my way to a professional career in higher education. My graduate study reinforced my belief that personal curiosity lends itself well in institutions of higher education. The pursuit of knowledge and truth leads to understanding the why and how of problems so that we may begin to solve them. It's a perfect fit to be surrounded by learners and thoughtful thinkers. I knew without a doubt that a career in higher education was the right fit for me. My first professional experience in higher education was as a residence hall director at a small private college in Connecticut. This position allowed me to support student success through residential education and programming. Seeing students grow and playing a small part in that growth was a reaffirming experience. I was energized by my new profession, similar to how I felt the first time I heard Rapper's Delight. I had found my purpose. Helping more students succeed is my mission. It was my purpose for the first 25 years of my higher education career. Now, as Chancellor of UW-Stevens Point, it is the core of our purpose-driven education. I have a shared experience with our first-generation students, who make up about 47% of our student body. I feel a sense of belonging here, and it is my hope that everyone will feel welcome and have that same sense of belonging at our UW-Stevens Point campuses. When I joined UWSP, I introduced 3 strategic imperatives: enhancing academic excellence, expanding diversity, equity, and inclusive excellence, and increasing enrollment and growth. These 3 imperatives have been integrated into our university's strategic plan and will help move the institution forward and be responsive to evolving student, community, and regional needs. This focus will allow us to support faculty achievement and academic excellence by ensuring faculty have the tools needed to succeed so that they can in turn help our students succeed. This includes learning in and beyond the classroom, providing research opportunities and creative approaches to engage students in preparation for a growing knowledge economy. Our dedicated faculty and staff care about the success of our students, and they are passionate about sharing knowledge. They see it as their calling. Our campuses are united by a shared sense of purpose to reimagine a better world. What sets UWSP apart from other institutions is the extent of our commitment to student success. It is that commitment which prompted me to apply for the Chancellor position about 2 years ago, and is what I have seen each and every day since I became your Chancellor. We are continuing to grow as an institution to serve a broader population. We are making equity, diversity, and inclusivity, EDI, a priority in recruiting both students and employees, and in how we onboard new employees. EDI has been added to course evaluations and campus climate considerations. Inclusive excellence embodies making our campuses a place where everyone feels valued, supported, and welcome. It includes expanding access and creating opportunities for everyone who wants to attend UW-Stevens Point to be able to do so. So we will develop more on-ramps, expanding how we deliver education with more robust online and hybrid programs. Providing financial support is one way to help with access and affordability. So I'm pleased to tell you that my wife Bridget and I have established the Gibson Family Scholarship. It will support first-generation and historically underrepresented students to realize their potential at UW-Stevens Point. As a first-generation college graduate, I understand the power of education, how it can change an individual's life, as well as the lives of families and generations. Higher education both challenged and inspired me to discover a rewarding career path. I understand the grit and resiliency required to complete a college degree, certainly while juggling multiple jobs and competing priorities. This was my own experience, and it is the experience of many students who are seeking degrees from our institution. When endowed, this scholarship will make a lasting difference in reducing financial barriers and fostering opportunities for future pointers to discover their purpose. Helping more students succeed is why I do this work. It is a partnership, not just with our faculty and staff, but also with businesses, schools, nonprofit organizations, and individuals in Stevens Point, Wausau, Marshville, and North Central Wisconsin. As a regional public institution, we have an obligation to serve the region, to embrace our business and industry partners and civic leaders, to learn more about their needs and to develop programs to meet them. Many of them are here today or attending via live stream. Thank you. Thank you for your support of UWSP. Sharing knowledge and expertise, leveraging our institutional strengths are ways that we deliver on the Wisconsin idea. I also recognize that our institution is not without challenges that threaten efforts to achieve our goals. Internal and external conditions, including a tight labor market, recruitment competition, and budgetary constraints, place significant pressures on our faculty, staff, and students. This institution has weathered many challenges during its 128 years. These are not easy times, but I'm confident in our ability to address these challenges together. Some people have asked, why would I want to be a university chancellor now? Well, this is precisely the time when we need thoughtful and authentic leaders to bring folks together, to collaborate, to solve problems with creativity and innovation, to model civil dialogue and respect, to provide more pathways for students, to help them pursue their passions, and ultimately to succeed. I have embraced the authentic leadership style as it allows me to simply exist, to self-reflect, to ideate, and to test new ideas, to learn from others, to develop and nurture strong and trusting relationships. I am also mission-focused and people-centered. I have a firm understanding of my responsibility as chancellor, which I do not take lightly. Many mentors and leaders have guided me along this journey. I'm grateful that a few of them are here with us today. Thank you. We all have opportunities to be mentored and to mentor others, whether intentionally or informally. So I ask, how are you nurturing strong, trusting relationships? What drives your own unique talents and passions to make our world better? These are questions that I ask myself as well. As a community of learners, we all have something to teach and to learn. I believe that we can create even more opportunities together. Engaging in a community of dedicated learners is one of the opportunities that attracted me to UW-Stevens Point. One question that I'm routinely asked about is my transition to Central Wisconsin. Well, I began my tenure as chancellor on a cold winter day in 2021, in the middle of a global pandemic. In January, everyone's favorite month in Wisconsin. My family stayed in a residence hall for a few weeks until we can close on our house. My first interaction with a student was when someone knocked on our door at 3 a.m. A wake-up jolt to all of us. She was locked out of her room, and she thought that she was contacting the residence hall director. Imagine her surprise to learn that she had just awoken the chancellor and his family at 3 a.m. My interactions with students, colleagues in the greater central Wisconsin community were immediately impactful, rich, and engaging. In the past 20 months, I have met hundreds of people on campus and in our communities who share a deep and unshakable love for our institution and students. Every faculty and staff member on all 3 of our campuses contributes to the purpose and success of our institution. I see your passion and commitment firsthand in our classrooms, labs, residence halls, offices, and field stations. I am so proud of the work you do to provide an engaging, welcoming, living, and learning environment for our students. Thank you. And it's not lost on me that it's a bit strange to be holding my inauguration ceremony nearly 2 years after I started the chancellorship. The COVID pandemic disrupted many things, including the timing of this ceremony. However, one of the advantages of waiting 20 months to hold an inauguration is that I can speak to you from a much more informed perspective. As I look out into this audience, I see friends and colleagues, many of whom I've worked with very closely. Together, we have watched thousands of our students graduate and welcome thousands more students back to campus. We are fulfilling our mission to help students discover and apply knowledge to prepare them for success in a diverse and sustainable world. I can tell you in no uncertain terms that I'm right where I'm supposed to be. UW-Stevens Point is all that I hope it was when I applied for the chancellor position. I'm honored to lead this great institution. My work is to ensure the university continues to provide transformative educational experiences for students and to expand access for more diverse learners in support of institutional growth and enrollment. Together, we will continue to provide an outstanding education for our students from Wisconsin, the Midwest, and throughout the world. Each of us has a role in ensuring the success and sustainability of our institution, and I'm excited to take this journey of purpose-driven growth and opportunity with you. Our direction is clear, and our future is bright. In closing, I would like to thank my wife, Regent, and daughter, Kennedy, for keeping me grounded and for their love and unwavering support. A special thanks to my parents, my 2 brothers, and relatives who have been a source of motivation in my life. My gratitude to my friends and mentors for their good counsel over the years. I'm appreciative. And thank you to UW-Stevens Point, especially our students and the North Central Wisconsin community for your support and confidence in my leadership. I'm very fortunate. And while not as a rapper, I finally have my gold chain. Thank you, everyone.
Chancellor Gibson, today we honor your leadership of this fine institution of higher learning and what it will mean for UWSP students, present and future, and for all who teach and work on the campus and for the greater of Wisconsin community. Congratulations. Before we leave today, I would like to ask you to open your program to the last page and join Chris Eaton once again as he leads in the singing of UW-Stevens Point's alma mater, the Purple and the Gold.
Now purple and the gold. Alma mater, our Wisconsin, dear Stevens Point we toast, recalling former times of challenge and repose on the banks of old Wisconsin, alumni glories told. We offer our allegiance to the purple and the gold.
Please be seated for just one more minute. And thank you, Chris. I'm amazed that you can reach those notes. At the conclusion of today's program, I'd like to ask that everyone in the audience please remain seated while the Grand Marshal and platform party depart. A reception will be hosted in the alumni room following the program. Campus tours will also be available until about 2 o'clock this afternoon. And again, our congratulations to Chancellor Gibson. We wish you continued success as you lead UW-Stevens Point into the future. Thank you to all who came to celebrate with us today the inauguration of UW-Stevens Point Chancellor Thomas Gibson. Congratulations.